My name is Abigail and welcome back to my channel. Today I am continuing on with my planet series with Jupiter as a character. Now the goal of these characters is to create a goddess-like figure, and that is no exception with Jupiter. So I start with a sketch in Procreate on my iPad. I like this, it just makes it so much easier. Even though my selection tool had a glitch which made it actually incredibly hard, and I might as well have sketched on paper, but that is a-okay, and I'm really happy with this design, and you will hear more about that as I talk. This video is a little different. I do some real-time drawing and talking as well, so enjoy! Okay, now I know you just watched me sketch this, so here I've printed it out just onto normal computer paper, and this is my Express It blending card, which is what I'm going to trace it onto, and I'm going to trace it on with a Prismacolor Col-Erase colored pencil in the shade Rose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of tape or two, and I'm going to tape this to this and use this light box here to transfer the picture onto this in the pencil. So I'm going to do that right now. So here I am using my tape, and what you don't see is I don't want it to be too sticky, so I actually take it and stick it to my shirt a bunch to kind of pick up some of the lint from my shirt. Does double duty, and so that way it doesn't rip the back side of the paper when I am done using it, you know, because sometimes Scotch tape can be a little much and a little harsh, and this is so much better, so that way it keeps the paper from sliding around, and then I can move it, because I know some people just straight up tape the paper to the light box, but I don't want to do that because I like to, as you can see, tilt it around, and it's a lot harder to move the light box since it has to be plugged in than it is to just tilt the paper. So this is what works for me. So what I like about doing it this way is I like doing the initial sketch on my iPad because it's a lot easier for me to make mistakes and also take it on the go. You know, I actually did the sketch for this at a coffee shop this morning, so it's just really nice and mobile. And I like it that if, you know, there's something I like, but it's not necessarily in the right spot, I like being able to shift it around. So it is just really, really helpful. And then kind of doing this second round of, sorry, my cat is moving the camera, but kind of doing this second round of, it's almost like a second round of editing kind of thing when you're writing. It's another layer of the sketch where I can fix things and kind of tweak them just a little bit to make sure that it is turning out exactly the way that I want. And granted, before, I think this one I'm liking a lot. Some of them I feel like I'm not necessarily in the right headspace while doing them, getting them started and stuff. And so, and I think that really does reflect in the artwork then that I end up putting out. So yeah, and take Mars for example. I ended up liking it, but I didn't love it, and I just think that's because it's not that I don't think it's good. I just can tell that it's a reflection of the fact that I was feeling kind of uninspired, and creating art felt a little bit more like a chore that day than it did fun and a hobby and something I wanted to do. It felt not fun, not something I wanted to be spending my time on doing. And that it is sad to do that, which is why I'm trying to take more time to create art just for the fun of it, and also why I took my iPad to a coffee shop today to sketch, because I wanted to make sure that I was feeling in the right headspace to create. Because when it comes to series, when I'm doing multiple drawings in succession that are kind of all supposed to go together, it's painfully obvious when one of them doesn't fit with the rest of them because I wasn't in the right space for it. And I think Mars really does reflect that. And it's unfortunate, but what that just means is that if and when I go to create, to turn these into like stickers or prints, it means that I will probably maybe end up redrawing Mars. So I've been trying to think. I think a lot of it was the pose, and I didn't think about the colors as much as I probably should have. And so I definitely think the colors is really what sent it over as something that I didn't think about. Anyway, yeah. So for this, first off, I'm really enjoying the way her face looks right now. I don't know if you can see that, but it just looks really nice. But so Jupiter is the largest planet, and Jupiter has, depending on who you ask, between 80 and 92 moons, which is why I feature a lot of little circles on here. It's also, Jupiter is also associated with wealth and like abundance, probably because it has so many damn moons. That's would be my guess. And so that's why I tried to make her dress have lots of layers and lots of, you know, jewelry to it. So I will let voiceover take over again, just because otherwise we will be here all damn day if we go at it like this. So off we go. If you watch my videos a little more regularly, you'll have to tell me if you like this style a little better, where I talk a little bit more real time in person and intermixed with voiceover. I think I tend to like the artwork more a little bit when I talk in person about it. So there's that, might be beneficial. And here I am peeling it off. See, the tape comes off nice and clean, and that's because it's full of lint, so it's not as sticky. Okay, not me dripping water on it and ruining it, but it's not really ruined. But here it is done, and now I am going to line it with a Micron in 01, nice and little bitty, but I will not show that because I get too scared to ink on camera. So I will finish this up and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the line art is done. Now I will be moving on to coloring it. I think I may or may not swatch some colors first to try to avoid the mistakes that I made last time. So I'm gonna get started on that. The mistakes I am in fact referring to is the fact that I did swatch some colors for Mars, but I feel like I just didn't really think very clearly or, you know, very much through the colors that I was picking and where in fact I ended up laying them. So it kind of ended up being a little muddy, a little dark, a little not exactly what I was expecting. It's okay. I think overall, for like the most, oh my gosh, can't get my tongue today. I think the biggest part of my failure and my dislike with Mars is mostly her outfit. I didn't enjoy the way I had her posed. That always happens when I'm doing a like heavily design based series or drawing, where I'm really more focused on the design than I am at conveying some type of feeling or action, and then I like deviate from the norm of whatever it is I'm trying to do, and that I always like that less. So with all the other characters, they're mostly posed straight on because the point isn't them in some kind of situation. The point is to design them in a beautiful dress. So I really want to see everything, and you can best see that when they are kind of standing in a bit of a stagnant position, which is something I am working on this year. And like my hope is to do more illustration type drawings of characters versus just standing there drawings of characters, or, you know, more of like a sketchbook style page full where it's them in multiple points of view from whatever. Sorry, cat bothering it again. They like my stand that this is on a lot. But anyway, so like to draw, you know, them, you know, more loosely versus a complete like finished drawing such as this. But what I did is I've been drawing all of them in a similar pose to Jupiter here, and then I go and I draw Mars in a little bit more of a different pose with everything kind of flowing out and around, and then I ended up not being as happy with it. And that, yeah, that seems to be a common theme because it's similar to when I did my Zodiac series. I drew them digitally as well to make stickers, and I loved how all of the stickers were turning out except for Scorpio. And that was because Scorpio, I had decided to draw her in like a different position, like she was like almost like battle ready, and I hated it then because she didn't match all of the other ones, and it was just very frustrating. So when I need to learn to stick to the script when I am drawing a series of characters, and then I think I will like them all better. But anyway, back to the drawing. I am using my Copic markers, and I set out some there that I swatched and liked, and the common theme so far for all of them has been I try to recreate a similar pattern to the planet on their bodice. So I like having that constant there of like planet goes on the bodice. So, and there I am adding in Jupiter's big giant storm that you can see. I don't know too much about Jupiter. I probably used to know more about the planets and stuff when I was younger, but in this week has been a crazy week, so I haven't even had time to do a lot more research on them, on the planets. But that might be fun for the next one, is to do a little bit more of a research based one. But camera has been a little shaky, I see. It doesn't help that it hangs pretty close to my head, so I probably bump it with my hair a lot, and then cats. So what it is I have one of those like desk clamp ones for my phone, because I do record on my phone, and I don't want it clamped to the desk because I'm moving a lot, so I clamp it to a tall chair I have. But of course in that moment, because it's not in the kitchen and now in my art room, the cats become obsessed with it, so then they sit on the chair while I am trying to record, and they bump it even more because they cannot sit still. Anyway, but I decide to have her hair blue because in some of the pictures of Jupiter you can really see that there is like a bit of blue in it. I love it when there's a bit of an accent color, so I use that kind of muted blue as her hair, and I absolutely adore it. The goal of her hair was, like, I'd recently seen this TikTok of this girl who had micro braids, and it like screamed like queen material to me because she was talking about how long they take to do, and it was like weeks, like it can take like a couple weeks to get the entirety of her hair micro braided. And so I was like, of course that has to be my Jupiter, because associated with wealth and power and stuff, come on, that's queen behavior, and the biggest planet has to have the most extra hairstyle. So I know it doesn't necessarily look as out there, but now you and I both know that it definitely took a lot longer than all of the other planets. So, and that right there is queen behavior, if I ever saw it. And then I ended up using that same blue then, on the detailing work throughout her entire dress. All that little, I don't want to say piping because that's costumey and that's a little, they're supposed to be rich and fancy. So lining, like a lining on the end of all of her dresses and stuff. And I ended up making those sheer because, well, that was always their intent. And I was struggling on what colors I wanted her skirt, because I knew I wanted some panels very dark, which is why, I'd start with this kind of yellowy, orangey, browny kind of color, and then I layered over a Copic color called Clay to kind of bring it down, and I ended up kind of going back and forth with them a little bit to make sure that it had enough of the yellow color while also enough of the clay to make it feel dark enough. Because unfortunately, a lot of the planets don't have a lot of colors to work with. We're working with a lot of browns, a lot of oranges, and that's why I get so excited when there is more pops of color, such as this one having, I liked the yellowy colors and I loved the pop of blue. It really can add a bit more dimension to these drawings, like I said, especially because the colors fall a little flat. So having something is better than nothing. So but the blue is definitely my favorite. And I will do my plugs now before I forget. If you like what you're seeing here and you want to see more, please like, subscribe, comment. I would love to hear from you. And you can find tons of more like this. I am going in order from the direction of the sun, so you can even find more of the planet ones, because Jupiter is not the closest to the sun. But I am over halfway now done with this, and I am looking forward to the last few planets because they're going to be kind of fun. A lot of blue, definitely. And if you want to see others, videos similar, but not necessarily planet-like, I do tons of these where I'm turning things into characters, and I have all kinds of different videos, and you can see all the different kinds of artwork I create. You can also find me on my Instagram in a couple different places. My art Instagram, where I solely post artwork, which you will find pictures like this and more, because I don't record everything that I draw, or my bullet journal Instagram, which don't let the name of it deceive you. I also post about my business there and the books that I read, and my bullet journal and my stickers, because I make a lot of stickers. Speaking of stickers, you can find the link to my Etsy store down below as well. And I had bumped my watch so it zoomed out, but that's okay. You can just see my coffee and my gray outfit, which, if you don't know, is a gray on gray outfit. I was wearing gray sweatpants and a gray t-shirt, styling. But I liked it. It was very, I do ended up liking it. I might have to zoom out a little bit more. Like, I might have to play with the zoom a bit. Might be fun. I kind of liked that. But anyway, yes, Etsy has tons of stickers, and I am adding more all the time, and I am actually working on a set of coloring pages right now, which I'll probably end up making a video about when they are done. And I just listed some beautiful new spring stickers, so check those out. And I do have a link to a podcast that I do with my best friend as well, where we talk about fashion, culture, and art. The Visionaries is what it's called. It's pretty cool. We post about once a week, and it is pretty fun, if I do say so myself. You can hear a couple of best friends chatting about anything and everything under the sun. It is amazing. I also have my TikTok linked below, which is probably, it used to be my least favorite social media to post on, but now it's probably one of my favorites. I am constantly updating about artworks, business ventures. My friend and I have started craft fairs, so I post about that a lot on there too, and that is the perfect place to go watch some, what are they called? Oh, order packing videos. I do quite a few of those as well, so go check that out if you like that type of content. I do try to post here about once a week. I may or may not end up getting to it. This is definitely the poor social media that suffers the most when I get busy. Been a little busy, but I've been keeping on it pretty much for a little while. So if any of that sounds appealing, all of the links are down below, as well as all of the stuff that I used to create this piece of artwork. And speaking of this piece of artwork, back to it. So I did these beautiful gradients on her, like, I don't know what you'd call that, the layered portion in the back. I loved it. I'm a sucker for gradient, if I'm being honest. And her staff is probably one of my favorite little details of this whole piece. It is supposed to be Jupiter on top of it, which I know is a little basic, but it has all these beautiful, like, really cool, like, floating orbs. And I imagine those are, like, the tons and tons of moons it has. I don't know, and just think that's funny. The idea of this planet having 92 fucking moons is absolutely bonkers to me. I can't handle the one we have here, but I can imagine having that many. Gosh, so many. A lot. And then she has a lot of jewels, which did get lost a little bit in her crown, but she's got a beautiful crown of jewels, gigantic earrings of jewels, draped jewels, tons of jewels, which are pretty fun to draw, if I do say so myself. And I was thinking about what color I should do, because I think of jewels as being rich, and I debated thinking about, I don't know, like a browner one, or trying to find a way to do them like white, like diamonds. But ultimately I ended up going with a really rich blue, like sapphires, because I just thought that might help play on the beautiful blue of her hair and stuff. So, and I don't ever do outlined irises on these drawings, because I feel like that adds a little bit of a definite layer of, what's the word I'm looking for? Otherworldliness, I guess. And I'm using here I'm using a blue to shade, but I use a bit of a light purple to add some shadows. I haven't been doing too intense shadings on these, just because they're not really in a scene. And like I said before, it's definitely more about the outfit and the character design than it is about the elements in which the characters are. I do plan on turning these into coloring pages as well, touched up and stuff, obviously, so they will be available for digital downloads very, very soon. When I announce the arrival of the other ones, I will also hopefully announce these ones. I don't know. I am very picky about the way that I like my line art done. Obviously, these are done traditionally, which means I'm going to completely redraw the line art for the digital downloads, which is cool because line art digitally is my favorite part of the drawing. Sketching and coloring is my favorite part of traditional artwork, but line art is my favorite part of digital artwork. So, and I'm using a Uniball Signo as to add my white highlights, which I just think is the icing on top of the cake because I actually really like Uniball Signos. I use either Uniball or a Jelly Roll pen, kind of the basic ones, but it's okay. And this character is probably one of my favorites. I think I like the dress better of Venus, I would say, but I like the character of Jupiter. I like her face and I absolutely adore her hair. So if I mix the two together, that's ideal. But obviously 2 separate characters, so it's okay, don't mind me. And I adding a ton of sparkles and highlights to like the lining as if it is shinier than the rest. And I don't know what that little piece would be called, but it's one of my favorites. I like adding fun structural elements to costumes that like stick out. I don't know, I just find it very interesting. And need tons of shinies on top of all of her draping jewels. And then last second, I kind of decided to, here in the blue part of the skirt, since I did this like almost triangle-like effect, almost as if it's layered instead of like sewn together, I decided to do this cute little like celestial pattern with like planets and stars and sparkles. I thought it was cute. It definitely added a nice touch because I was definitely looking for ways to add some more dimension and texture, because I think that's a little harder to portray in traditional artwork, at least for me. But yeah, and here I'm adding the background, which I've been doing for all of them, which I add a circle and I color it in like the planet very roughly because I don't want it to detract too much away from the character, because it's just like a cute little final touch. And my marker was drying out, which is it's pretty typical of me to have dead markers all the time. But I go in with, I think this is the eggshell color, which is really light. And then I go in with the rest of the browns, which end up being a little darker, but you know what, it's alright, turns out. But anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to have you. And if you have any suggestions for videos, leave them in the comments below. I do, in a few seconds here, have a close-up video of this, so stick around to see that. But I hope that you have a fantastic day. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye.